What is going on, guys? Thanks for stopping by the garage. This is Dream Daily Drivers. It's another awesome video. It's another killer hot day here in Central Florida. 95 feels like 112 or something like that. It's a brutal day, man. It's a brutal day. It's been a brutal 3 weeks, and over these past 3 weeks, I've actually been building something pretty rad. I'm excited to show you guys what I got in the back of the Commander. So, without further ado, let me show you what I've been working on. Oh, swing this guy open. All right, man, you ready for this? Check this out. Boom! Can you believe it? Is this the most amazing thing you've ever seen or what, dude? Check it out. What do you mean? You can't see it, man? You can't see how awesome it is? All right, let me pull this away and then maybe it'll reveal itself. Oh, what about now? Huh? Check it out. I made a sweet tactical storage box in lieu of the third row seating that goes back here. And it doesn't end here. Wait till you see what I have under here. Boom! So now before I go through everything here, show you what I got going on in here and tell you why I did what I did, let me show you how I did what I did. All right, so to start off, you want to get rid of your third row seat. Now I removed mine about a month ago, and it's been real nice not having that extra weight in there. The third row weighs about 150 pounds. Since I've relocated my tire, I also got rid of the bracket that holds it underneath the vehicle. That was probably another 10 pounds. So a lot of weight got removed from here, and the last thing I want to do is actually add a lot of weight back with our tactical box that I'm going to be putting back here. All right, so step one is to get rid of these AC and heat ducts for the third row. You got one on the driver's side, and you got one on the passenger side. So after we get done hacking those things out with a razor blade and cutting ourselves in the process, we are good to go. We can break the ruler out, start making some measurements because we got it nice and square there and nice and square on the driver's side. And just when I thought I was finished hacking up the interior, I noticed that there's this little piece here in each corner that also need to be trimmed out. So I grabbed a little hacksaw and cut away these two corner pieces. Next, I grabbed a piece of cardboard because I wanted to make myself a template, and I thought this would be the easiest way to do it. So the back of the Commander is not square. It goes from high to low. So I jumped into the Commander and I used a knife and went up and down and made these relief cuts because you can't get behind the cardboard to make a line. So this actually worked out really well. So once I trimmed off those relief cuts that I'd made, I got myself a perfect template. This was a huge part of building this box, is getting these side templates. They're the hardest ones to get, and I was super happy with how it's turned out. And also gave me an idea to actually run this on top of the plastic. I hadn't thought about doing that before, but once I saw that ledge, I was like, dude, this is going to work, and it'll add to some more stability to the lid. And the best part about this was after I had made the template, I could swap it over to the driver's side, and it would work on that side too. So this was a huge, huge part, and I was really excited about getting this accomplished. So here you can see my woodworking setup. I got an old Black & Decker jigsaw. I got a handsaw, a level, a clamp from Harbor Freight. And this wood wasn't easy to cut, but first piece got cut. It wasn't perfect. It's going to need some sanding, but we got it done. All right, now this thing is starting to take shape. Now, the whole reason I kind of built this the way I did is because I wanted that tailgater tire table to fit in this box. I wanted a place for it to go, and I wanted the OEM jack to have a place. So that's why the dividers are laid out the way they are. I measured to make sure that this tire table is going to fit in here perfect with very little room to wiggle around. And that's why the length is what it is. And then the jack, I wanted it to be able to sit in there and wedge itself in place. All right, now that we got the basic outline of the box, the basic design, now it's time to work on the lid. So I did some quick measurements and trimmed this top board down, fit it in there to kind of see where I was at. So this was just the rough cut of the wood, but man, it was turned out awesome. As you can see there, it's sitting on the corner of the Commander's interior, just like I planned. It was also sitting level on my box. It was turned out awesome. So now we ran into a little bit of a snag. I cut this thing so close that it was actually rubbing on the plastic. And of course, I cut everything with my jigsaw, so nothing was really all that straight. So I had to mark some spots where I had to do some sanding because it was rubbing on both sides. So after we got that rubbing taken care of, we ran into another issue, and that is that the top was going to be hitting this kind of overlap of plastic on both sides. So now I have to notch the lid in order for this to clear. So I broke out the jigsaw, cut a 1/4 inch off both sides, and seemed to do it, man. Check it out. Clears nice and smooth. At this point, I felt like I had this thing figured out, and it was time to actually assemble it. So I grabbed my drill and started throwing some screws in this thing to hold it all together. Now it's time to do some sanding. And I'll tell you a little funny story. I bought that Black & Decker mouse sander like 5 years ago for some silly project. I think it had something to do with a Prelude. I can't really remember why I bought it, but I remember sitting or standing in Home Depot and staring at the thing and being like, man, this thing's $40. I don't really know how often I'm going to use it. But let me tell you something. That little palm sander has gotten used more times in the last 5+ years than any other tool that I own. I use it for everything. It's really good on car finishes when you're prepping something for paint. But here I'm using it for what it's really intended for, and that's sanding this wood down. I should mention that this wood is some sort of kind of softish pine. The reason I got it was in good condition right off the floor of Home Depot, and it was really lightweight. And as you guys know, I've mentioned it a couple times, I don't want to add a lot of weight. So I wanted something that was very, very light and what I assumed was going to be easy to work with. And I'm guessing it is easy to work with, but I definitely struggled with it. I'm not a woodworker or a carpenter or anything close to that, as you could probably tell from this video. But anyway, the sander, my God, thing is just killer. Totally awesome. Real quick, when I started this project, I went to Lowe's, found these for $5.99. I actually thought this was going to be enough. This comes with 5 pieces for $5.99. And after using this to sand down like 2 boards, I realized that this was not going to be enough and there had to be a better answer. Then I went to Amazon. Check this out. I think it's 40 for $9 shipped. Yep, got it next day too. And it's multi-grit. It's $2.40 all the way down to $40. So link down in the description, man. God, Amazon's always the winner. All right, now it's time for some handle action. I found the center of the hatch, marked it off. I grabbed an 1.5-inch drill bit, and it's time to grab the drill and start drilling some holes. This was actually super scary to do. I didn't want to mess it up. It would be really obvious if it was screwed up, but it turned out pretty awesome. And there's my little sander once again with a little extension piece. Here's the finished handle, man. It turned out sweet. All right, now it's time for some reinforcement wood. I got this at Lowe's, and it's a different type of wood. It's much, much stronger than what I've been working with. The longer pieces that go across the top of the platform, they flex. So I wanted to put something in that would create some stability. This will give you a better idea what I was talking about. I got 2 of these guys running parallel, and they created a ton of rigidity so that top board wouldn't flex anymore. So now comes like the coolest idea I had for this entire project, the molly panel idea. I came up with this randomly, and I started searching on Amazon, and I came across these panels, and I was like, oh my God, this is a total game changer. I can do so much with this. They attach really easily to the back of the platform, just a screw and a little plastic piece. And I think there are 6 of them for each panel, and they just clip on. And at first, it's funny, when I saw this, I was like, why would I ever need to do this? But then when I tried to actually attach a bag to the back, I realized how important this is. Here you can see exactly what I'm referring to. This would be impossible to do if this was actually attached to the bottom of the platform. So being able to disconnect the molly panel to run the straps behind it and secure it is 100% necessary. Certainly wouldn't want to unbolt this every time you want to attach something to the back of the panel. Now it's time to install the hinge. This is a 1-inch hinge. I got it in black because I knew I'd be using black carpeting. I just thought it would look good. And it's a million tiny little screws, but it seems to hold really well, really firm. So I just took my time with this. Another thing I didn't want to screw up. But yeah, pretty straightforward. And we're finally getting towards the end here. Now it's time to wrap this thing in carpet. And got actually a funny story about this carpet. So I actually got this carpet as a gift. I stuck this thing on my wish list and Kelly's brother bought it for me. And it was years ago. I don't remember why I wanted it, but I've had this for years and years and years and never used it. And we've moved a bunch of times and Kelly is always like, "What is this?" And I'm like, "Oh, that's black carpet." And she's like, "For what?" And I never knew. I didn't know. I never did anything with it. So wrapping this thing in carpet was brutal. It was brutal because I felt like I was finished. I designed the box, made the box, and all I had to do was wrap in carpet. And I thought it was going to take like 20 minutes. It would have taken like 3 hours or something ridiculous. Every piece has to be traced and cut out. And man, it's just a hassle. It added so much more time to the project. So anyway, here's a piece all cut up, ready to go, ready to be installed. And here is the glue that I used. All right, so let me start off by giving you a tour of this. First, let's just talk about the WeatherTech mat. It was really important to me to reuse this mat. I like this mat. This mat was like an investment when I bought it. I think these things are like 140 bucks, but they're awesome. They're awesome. The best part is, you know, you go to the beach, throw your stuff back here, sand gets all over the mat, easy to clean. You put something back here, it spills, it gets all over the mat, it's easy to clean. It's just a great catch-all. It's really well made, fits really well. So I really wanted to reuse this mat no matter what I built. So I'm happy to say fits on top of our box nicely, no issues there. And let me pull this away. And now we'll get a nice tour of this thing. So here's an up-close view of kind of how it all fits in here. And really happy with how this turned out. Here's the hinge. You can see how the size of it. I'll put a link down in the description. I want to say this thing's something like 30 inches. And here's the corner of each side. Kelly helped me wrap these top pieces because it was kind of a big deal. I didn't use any staples on the top. It's all just that glue that I showed you earlier. And then on the underside, we actually did, of course, use staples, right? So you got to pull it tight and you got to staple it back. I painted this, as you can see. And the reason I did was because I thought it would be better at blending in the outer edges of the carpet and also the molly panels along with the black background. Thought it would kind of all flow together and look nice. I didn't paint anything else in here. And I actually like the kind of break in color from the black to the natural wood. I think it kind of looks good. Everything kind of pops when you open it up. It's kind of easy to see, and I think in low light that would be a benefit. So as far as the molly panel goes, I should have mentioned, I guess, that these are Pelican molly panels. And as you can see, I actually mounted them upside down. No big deal. It doesn't matter. They work either way, but just a silly mistake on my end. These little pouches, I got these off Amazon. I'll have a link in the description for everything. They're really relatively inexpensive. I think this one was 25 bucks. These two came together for like 15, 16. And this is a full-on first aid kit. This thing is awesome. This is definitely one of those things where when I was building this, I was like, I definitely have to have a serious first aid kit. And now I do. What's cool about this is it does tear away. It's all Velcro on the back. So if you ever needed it in a pinch, you would just unzip it and then yank it off. I'm not gonna do it right now because it's kind of a pain in the butt to get back on there, but that's how that works. And it's a nice thing to have really in any car. The reason these things are kind of staggered and laid out the way they are is that when the lid comes down, it has to clear this. Everything's kind of offset a little bit because of the tire table. So I had to kind of leave an empty space here, and that's why everything's kind of not uniform here. I'll also mention too that I only have a couple things on here. You could really go bananas with this, and I think over time I will learn and come up with better ideas for attaching things. to the back of here. I don't want to put too much weight on it. It is just plastic mounted with plastic pieces, so you know, I don't want to put like a fire extinguisher on here or something like that that may have an excess amount of weight. And I also don't want to put a ton of stress on that hinge. So what I have back here is pretty lightweight stuff. I'll open this up for you. This bag is really cool because it opens like an accordion and won't totally open. Basically right here, right now, all I have in here are just straps. I just have excess straps, some charging cords, that sort of thing. As time goes on, I'll have a better idea of what I want to put back here, but this is just stuff I've been driving around with already in the back, and I wanted to just find a home for it. What I have down here is a really nice flashlight. Got this years ago off Amazon. Great little flashlight. I put a link down in the description. This thing is, man, if you were lost in the woods or something like that, that would be the flashlight you'd want to have, because let me tell you something, it is serious. Moving on, this little guy for now. What do I have in here? I can't even remember. I just put it in here the other day. I got a little emergency blanket in here, and I want to say there's something. Oh, there's a fire starter kit in here. There is a flint and striker in there. I also have some those little fire starter little things. This is a key to my lug nuts, right? I always want to have that in the car in case you ever need to change a wheel out, so I thought it'd be a good location for it. I just used a little piece of like the Velcro that kind of loops into itself. I actually got it off Amazon. I'll put a link. But really cool. You could attach a whole bunch of stuff to this molly panel with those things. And like I said, over time, I'll figure out what I need to attach and what I don't need to attach. What I have in here is a little deflator, tire deflator. This is by Jayco. It's just a tire deflator. It actually allows you to remove your valve stem so you can air down super quick. All right, moving on. We got our tire table. As you guys know, this is one of the main reasons I designed this box. I think this is an awesome item. We use it anytime we can, really. It's just fantastic. I love having it, and I wanted to have a space for it where it wasn't in the way anymore. Right here, I have a GMRS radio. I got a pair of gloves. I have my jack, OEM jack, and it's tightened so that it fits in there tightly and won't move around. And this is the OEM kind of monkey wrench and the pieces you need to operate the jack. So real happy the way all that fits in there. This GMRS radio I will put somewhere else. It's just there temporarily. Moving on this bin, I have my impact gun. Awesome little tool to have. I have my jump starter, battery jump starter. I did a video on that, fantastic item. I have an inflator for mattresses and whatnot. Great little thing to have. Also carry a raft in the vehicle, so if we ever go to the springs or something like that, we can blow a raft up real quick. This is some tools I got recently, a really cool little kit. It's like that Star Torx bit. This Jeep Commander is filled with Torx bits. It's super annoying, but I wanted to have a tool in case I needed to get to one of those. And then over here some random stuff. I got a ball joint, gas cap, and I forget what that is down there, but I have it in here in case I ever need it. And everything fits in here. This is like fits in here so perfect that wasn't even designed to fit like that. It just does. So that's this bin. And then back here, I kind of have a lot of stuff, right? I got a tool roll that I used to ride around with my motorcycle on. It's got some cheap tools in there, but they're better than nothing. I got this guy, which I always have in the vehicle because it's way better than a stupid monkey wrench. I got jumper cables, I got a broom, I got a light. I actually have a little collapsible shovel in here. These are spare tie downs for the awning. It's just kind of like an emergency blanket. Great little thing to have. And then back here, I have some recovery gear that I got recently, which I basically stole this off Amazon, dude. This was like 35 bucks. It is a 2-inch, 20-foot strap and a soft shackle for 35 bucks shipped. Deal of the century. Awesome thing you should have in your rig. You got to be able to get recovered in case there's you get stuck or something like that, or in case you have to pull somebody else out. And then lastly, I have shoved back here, which this is, again, I didn't plan this to fit this way, but you can see how well this fits in here. This is like a 55, I'll just open it up. Why? I'm not going to tell you, man. I'll just show it to you. Check it out. Impact set. Got off Amazon. So let's talk a little bit about the design of this and why I designed it the way I did. As you can see, it's the same height now as the back seats, and that's a huge part for me. You can actually sleep back here in the back of the Commander. It's big enough to fit. I'll throw a picture up here of me in here with our full-size mattress. The mattress is obviously too big in the photo, but you can see my point. There's plenty of room in here, especially for one person to sleep along with gear. I don't see myself getting a rooftop tent anytime soon, so having the ability to be able to jump in the back in here and sleep comfortably is a huge bonus, and not something I wanted to screw up by building something that's elevated. Another thing, I've stressed this 100 times, but when you elevate things, when you add drawers and pull outs and all that kind of stuff, you're adding more weight to not only the design of the platform, but in what you wind up bringing, right? The more space we have, the more we tend to fill it with stuff that maybe is not necessary and can, you know, just overall hurt the vehicle's performance. So that's something I didn't want to do. And this is the same height as the third row seats folded down, and that's exactly what I wanted, and real happy the way it turned out. So some possible future add-ons for this would be a definite aluminum strip here in the front to just kind of cut down on any possible friction that may cause and maybe tear the fabric. So I'm probably going to put an aluminum strip somewhere here, and then also adding some tie downs. And if I do the tie downs, I'm only going to be doing them in the very corners of the platform, you know, one here, and then one there and one there. And the reason being is the tie downs may be nice for when I got my camping fridge back here along with the power station, and I don't want to have a million D-rings or wherever in here, because I'm going to continue to use the WeatherTech mat, right? So I would only put something in the corner, so if I had to fold up a corner like that to access the clip or the tie down, I could do that without having to manipulate the mat in any way or have the thing kind of all folded over and askew and everything like that. So that's gonna do it for this one, guys. I'm officially sweating. Yeah, I haven't even done anything except talk to a camera, and I'm dying of heat. So anyway, let me know down in the comments, what do you guys think of this build out tactical box that I put back here? Let me know what you would have done differently. What do you think of the first thing I actually built out of wood? Huh? It took a long time, man, but actually turned out kind of exactly how I thought it would, and it wasn't too bad. One thing I will say about lumber, dude, it's expensive. This whole thing was like $150 worth of wood, and I thought it was gonna be like 50 bucks. So it was a lot more than I thought it was gonna be. Anyway, make sure you like, comment, subscribe down below. Thanks so much for watching. We'll be back soon with another video. Got a good idea for something, and should be pretty simple and should apply to everybody's vehicle, including yours. All right. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, guys. We'll see you next time. Later.